Says ex Bethelite here, and I've got a question. How many parents leave their place of worship, their church, based off of what their kids decide to do as far as their spirituality? How many parents decide to get pregnant because one of their kids had sex with someone and got pregnant? How many parents decide to smoke marijuana and take, drugs or anything like that? We're assuming this is an area where marijuana is illegal because their kids do it. See, this is the exception, not the norm. So witness parents who shun their children, it makes no sense at all. They're not going to speak to their children because why? Because they think that if their children don't go to the Kingdom Hall and decide to be a Baptist, Pentecostal, atheist, agnostic, whatever it is that they decide to do, that they're going to now do it. That doesn't often happen. Normally, a child may switch his religious beliefs based off of what the parent decides to do, but not vice versa. A child may act a certain way based off how a parent is acting, but not vice versa. So again, why are parents not speaking to their kids? And I would also include children that have left the home. That's still their mother, they're still their father, they're still their son, it's still their daughter. So I'm including that with regards to parents not speaking to their children, because the mother, father, or the mother son, the father son, the parent child relationship is not based off of religion. There's a trillion things to talk about other than religion. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, because the whole concept of parents not talking to children is not because they're worried about bad association. It doesn't make sense. We'll touch on another point. A parent getting the idea that I'm not going to talk to my son or daughter because I think that's good for them. I think that's going to save their life if I don't talk to them anymore. That concept is just as asinine as the first concept, that a parent needs to stop talking to their kid, otherwise the parent's going to start doing what the kid's doing. The concept that not talking to someone is helping them, or turning your back on someone is benefiting them. Let's say, just for example, a young woman makes a mistake or a series of mistakes and ends up being pregnant before she was ready, with someone that maybe she didn't really think was a good father figure. What do you do in that situation if you're a parent? Well, I can tell you what you do if you're a witness parent. You just turn your back on them. This girl who is now afraid, now she needs help, she needs assistance. Now, if she's in a church, more than likely that church is going to have her back, and people are going to be praying for her, people are going to try to help her out. But if she's a witness, their concept is, well, we'll turn our back on you, and that'll fix the situation. The whole concept of shunning doesn't make sense, because if a person who comes across hard times, makes a mistake, whatever the case may be, if that person is benefited by not being around parents and friends and other people in the hall, why do they even go? Why do you go to the Kingdom Hall if you don't need anyone there? Because shunning fixes everything, and shunning is being away from people. So why do you need to even go? If you don't need encouragement and things like that when you fall short, why do you even go? They're just going to turn their back on you. You know, you ask someone that question and you're just going to get a long silence because it doesn't make sense. They're not thinking for themselves. The organization directly teaches against independent thinking. They don't want you to go to college and learn how to think and research and study. They want you to go to the elders if you need. If you need something, if you have a question, actually, I could ask one of my parents a question right now. I could text them right now a question. And what are they going to say? Go ask an elder. Go to jw.org. Why do people buy concepts that are so foolish? Well, they're trained not to use their mind. They're trained not to think. They're trained to rely on the organization to direct their entire life. I mean, really stripping away who they are as a person. So what you have left is someone that is totally indoctrinated, and someone that will buy anything that they are told. Because if anyone thought about the shunning thing logically, it makes no sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If a person is that out there, then why are they going to church or to the Kingdom Hall anyway? If they have no intention on trying to do the right thing, why are they there anyway? Because socially, they probably would find people that they would get along better with outside of a religious setting. So if they're there for encouragement and to be built up, whenever they stumble upon hard times, everyone turns their back on them. That makes no sense. None at all. And I can't emphasize enough the whole thing about parents not speaking to children. That is the shunning policy. Using that is a cop out for bad parenting. If you have a parent and they have not contacted you at least once every month, at least, that's a bad parent. I don't care how you slice it. Comment down below. I could be wrong there. Comment down below. Let me know some reasons why. And I'm not talking about if your parents are overseas somewhere. Let me know a reason why your parents cannot contact you to find out everything that's going on in your life at least once a month. If not that, then that's a bad parent. Using the organization as a crutch for being a bad parent is not. That's not a cool thing to do. If you have parents and they don't even know you really because they have shunned you since you were a young adult, that's not the organization. That's bad parenting. You have people in that organization that just aren't good parents. And the organization gives them excuses to just throw their hands up and give up on their families, on their children. And if something's going on that they don't like, well, I'll just ignore it, turn my back on it, and I won't have to deal with it. I won't have to be a parent. Now, I could read the scripture that says love is really the greatest commandment, loving God, and then loving others as yourself is the second. In that scripture would eliminate the entire Watchtower organization from the discussion of even the possibility of being a Christian religion, let alone the one true religion, if the greatest commandment is love. And you have the poorest excuses of parenting in that particular organization. You have the poorest excuses of parenting and being a family. The children have responsibilities also with regards to their parents. If a child is shunning their parents, and this child is an adult now, makes no sense. You're going to start doing whatever it is that your parent is doing now that you're a grown adult. You have way too much to talk about with your parent, with your child, that surrounds way more than just religion. You don't even have to talk about religion. There's no excuse for shunning parents or parents shunning children. That is directly against Christ's words when he says love is the greatest commandment. Loving God and then loving others as yourself. That goes directly against. I don't care what someone else wrote, what Paul may have wrote, or what Peter may have wrote. It goes against what Christ said. And when Christ said that he was sending a sword or something that regard with regards to the family, it's because he was sending out apostles to teach things that were totally different from what the Jews at that time were accustomed to. So of course there was going to be some rocky situations in the family, but Christ wasn't telling them to be the ones to initiate all those things. People's families may not have accepted what they taught and turned against them. They were the ones in the wrong, the ones that were turning their backs on those that had a different belief. Christ was sending those people out. They had a different belief than what the Jews had at that time. So if the families of those people turned their back on them, he was getting them ready for that. He wasn't condoning it. It just takes a little bit of thought. It takes a little bit of thought. But of course, you have an organization that strips people of self-empowerment and strips people of the ability to think for themselves, to think outside the box. And it doesn't even take a whole lot of common sense to figure out that this shunning thing doesn't even make any sense. Well, scripturally, it doesn't make sense with regards to what Christ said about love. And then just common sense wise, it makes no sense whatsoever, because parents aren't going to just start doing what the kids are doing. And adults aren't going to just start doing what the parents are doing once they're grown men and women. I've heard of children who have called their parents to tell them that they are a grandmother or grandfather. Now, if I had kids and one of them called me and told me that I was a grandparent, I would be in the car before they finished the sentence on my way down there, because I would be so happy and I couldn't wait to see my grandson or granddaughter. That's what's normal. You have people who are witnesses that get a phone call from their son or their daughter and they say, Mom, Dad, I just want to tell you, I know we haven't spoken in a long time because you don't want to talk to me, but I just want to tell you that you're a grandfather or your grandmother. That parent's response, who is supposedly representing Christianity, their response, well, are you going to the meeting? If you're not going to the meeting, well, we can't be having this discussion. What about your grandkids? There's a whole other generation of your family about to start. You know how ridiculous that is intellectually? That makes no sense. A person has to be a shell of themselves to not have the basic human emotions. And that's what we're talking about. And that's why people sometimes refer to witnesses as a cult. They don't just call it that because of the leadership. Religion has to have just one leader to be a cult. No, because of how insanely it affects its members and how far away from Scripture they are willing to go because of what someone told them. It's something that if organization was so important that it should direct someone's entire life, and it's more important than Christ's teachings apparently, because his teachings on love, it doesn't matter because I'm a parent and I don't have to talk to my kids. If you're a parent and you have not, I know I'm repeating myself, but if you're a parent and you have not spoken to your son or your daughter and you're not checking up on what's going on in their life, I don't care if your son or your daughter is 30 years old. That is pitiful. Show me where the Bible talks about organization, because that's all you hear coming from the lips of witnesses. Organization this, organization that, the organization this, the organization that. Jehovah's organization this, Jehovah's organization that. I'm sure that word is in the Bible. At least in the Bible that the witnesses printed themselves, they probably inserted it somewhere. I'm sure it's somewhere. Show me where someone comment down below, let me know where that word is in the Bible, because it's got to be there. It's that important. Is the word organization had better be in the Bible. Because if that term is foreign to Scripture, but paramount to a witness's entire life, then you're not living your life according to Scripture then. What is paramount in your life should be in that Bible. If it's not there, there's no excuse for it. Don't try to make excuse for it. Don't try to use the Scripture talking about the legal establishing of the good news, and that might not even be accurate, because I remember that from the New World's Translation. That doesn't mean to live your life according to an organization. Show me the word organization in the Bible, since people lean on it so heavily that they can't even think for themselves. They lean on it so heavily, the group thought mentality, that they don't even have the normal person's feelings. And yeah, you have parents, I'm sure, that aren't happy that they shun their son or their daughter, but they shouldn't even be capable of doing it. You have parents whose kids end up, for whatever reason, being criminals, and they're still parents. They still love them and they still talk to them. They may even go visit them in prison. It's just not normal. You have animals who will rip anything to shreds that comes close to their cubs, to their kids. I want you, a witness that thinks that this is just the natural order of things, that you just turn your back on your kids when it's convenient. I want you to go mess with a bear cub, mess with a lion cub. Pick any animal, mess with its cubs. Go mess with a squirrel's babies and see what happens. That squirrel will rip you to shreds. It's natural to animals. You have witnesses that are behaving below the standard of animals when it comes to their family. It's fact. That is fact. Watch Animal Channel right now. Watch whatever nature channel you want. And watch anything go mess with someone's cubs. The animal will risk its life to protect its kids. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Some of this is just beyond me, because I know people who have not spoken to their mother, have not spoken to their father, and they may not even be disfellowshipped. With the way things are going with the organization right now, they may not even be disfellowshipped, and the parents are still shunning them. This is ex-Bethelite signing out.